not personality, not personality. Now just like we do every day, जैसे हम रोज करते हैं, तो मैंने आपके लिए की टर्म्स रखे हैं और आप की टर्म्स में से मुझे बताएंगे कि आपको कौन सा यहाँ पे नहीं पता. ओके, कौन सा आपको यहाँ पे नहीं पता. Rohit, PGT is postgraduate teacher. UP PGT does not ask for B.Ed. Other states will ask for a B.Ed. Okay, waiting. Okay, all right. Eleanor Gibson is the one who studied this one, innate depth perception. वो visual cliff का task हम अभी करेंगे. We'll discuss that first. Okay, all right. हाँ, चलो. If it is any of the particular cues, I will explain them to you with the help of pictures. Okay? Vanishing point is basically a point where the stimulus is no longer visible. All right, visible or audible or anything. हमारी range होती है ना? Do you remember or do you know there's something called an absolute threshold? The stimulus has to be at least a certain power and a certain capacity for us to notice it at least 50% of the times. Yes? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are quantities of the stimulus which are too far away, which are too low in quantity. Sound which is not loud enough. After a certain point, we will not be able to hear or see, and that should be our vanishing point. ठीक है? Okay, fine. So there is visual cliff. I will explain all of these. मैं आपको सब ये monocular cues in the class I will explain in today's class. All right? So please stay tuned. It will make sense when I use it, when I explain with the help of a picture. ये कैसे भी मुझे आपको सब ये explain करना है. This and this. Relative clarity is nothing but atmospheric perspective. ठीक है? Okay, all right. Then what do we have? ये same चीज है ये दोनों. Stereopsis is nothing but vision. Stereopsis we'll not be talking about again. Stereopsis is vision that is created by the combination of images of both the eyes. ठीक है, मैं एक बार फिर से आपको हिंदी में बताती हूँ. Stereopsis वो vision होता है जब image हमारी दोनों आंखों से आती है. ठीक है, और आना जरूरी है क्योंकि जब ये ओवरलैप होता है तभी 3D इमेज क्रिएट होती है. Do you think your eyes have built-in 4K camera, HD, full HD, FHD? Our eyes are actually 2D in nature. Okay? हमारी आंखें या एक एक आंख actually सिर्फ 2D इमेज परसीव करने के काबिल है. Okay, all right. Now together when the images of both the eyes superimpose, that is why हमारा visual field कितना होता है? Can I say visual field of one eye overlaps over the visual field of the other eye? Can I say that? जो मेरे एक आंख की इमेज है उसमें से आधा मुझे दूसरी आंख से भी दिखता है. दिखता तो है. It's not like a fish. I see one side from one eye and another side from the other eye. Very, very good. So since our images from both the eyes overlap, that is when we are able to view 3D images and clear images, and therefore with shadows and lights and everything. That is stereopsis. Everything else we will talk about in class. Is there anything else here? This also we know. चलो ये भी सब discuss करना है. Is there anything? Feature detector cells. Do you remember who found them? Nobel Prize भी मिला था किसी को. I think Hubel and Wiesel spoke about feature detector cells on the occipital lobe, visual cortex, simple cells, complex cells, and hypercomplex cells. Yeah. All right. Okay. Feature detector approach is generally a bottom-up approach. अगर आप feature detector को perception में study करते हैं या attention में study करते हैं, generally ये एक bottom-up approach होता है. ठीक है? Because it's talking about detecting features first and then doing recognition. All right. Motion detection, we are aware. Apparent motion also we'll talk about. 5 phenomenon, stroboscopic. All of these we'll talk about. So stay tuned. Let's get started. These are important people. Fechner, sort of father of psychophysics. Yeah. Gustav Fechner. Fechner's law, Weber's law, वो हम plus classes में करेंगे. I have also put out one special class saying laws of psychophysics. Okay. हाँ, तो उसमें पूरे 3 laws मैंने discuss किए हैं. Now Hermann von Helmholtz, what did he do? He gave the trichromatic theory of vision. All right, very, very important when you go ahead and study color perception. उसके बाद you have Ewald Herring who gave the opponent process theory of vision. Hubel and Wiesel spoke about simple, complex and hypercomplex cells. Ernst Weber gave basically his Weber's formula, which says that just noticeable difference is a constant proportion of the absolute threshold or the overall stiffness. Now, have you ever seen this picture? ये आपको Morgan and King book में भी मिलेगी, आपको किसी भी general psychology book में मिलेगी. This picture, you can open any general psychology book. I'm not aware if this is there in 11th, 12th grade book. Okay. All right. You will find this in most textbooks. You are going to find. Okay. All right. Is this little Albert? No, this is not little Albert. Now, Eleanor Gibson, not Richard Gibson. Okay. Richard Gibson is a separate person. Eleanor Gibson is a lady. All right. Now, Eleanor Gibson and Richard Walk wanted to find out. ये क्या find out करना चाहते थे? अभी भी हम नेचर वर्सेस नर्चर ही स्टडी कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. सो दे वांटेड टू फाइंड आउट, दे टुक इन्फेंट्स, इन्फेंट मतलब बेबी हु कैन नॉट इवन वॉक, 1 साल से कम उम्र का बच्चा, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे 3 to 6 months वाले बच्चे इन्होंने लिए, समटाइम्स इवन 1 month old children they took. Okay, why did they take 3 to 6 months? Because 3 महीनों पे विजन एक्चुअली प्रॉपर्ली डेवलप हुआ होता है. So we will clearly be able to test whether or not depth perception is innate or whether it is learned. All right. Now what you can clearly see on the table, थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे pattern है table, but is there a glass portion after this? यहाँ से is there a glass portion? Okay. All right. Fine. Now does the baby have such clear vision to actually see कि देखो ये glass है, ये नहीं है and all that? Or does the child have a lot of intelligence to understand that this material is glass and this material is something else? No, it's just based upon the texture gradient, upon the various depth perception cues that the child is getting. जो ये वाला एरिया है वो दिखने में ज्यादा डीप लग रहा है बच्चे को, ठीक है, और जो ये वाला एरिया है वो शैलो लग रहा है. तो most children, most infants over here actually did not move forward. दूसरे साइड से माँ को रखा and the mother is calling the infant saying come to me, but the infant doesn't go. You see, what does that mean? That means more than being fooled, more than getting carried away, the child actually understands survival instincts, and that the child or the infant actually already has an understanding of depth perception. क्या ऐसा कह सकते हैं? 3 से 6 महीने के बच्चे को अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है यहाँ पे डेप्थ परसेप्शन की, क्योंकि ज्यादातर बच्चे जो थे, most infants, even though the mother was calling on the other and saying come, they did not go. They did not go. Absolutely. So here can I say at least to a certain extent that depth perception is innate. ये तो एक्सपेरिमेंट है ना, ये प्रूव किया, ये कोई भी रेप्लिकेट कर सकता है और आपको यही फाइंडिंग मिलेगी, बार बार आपको यही फाइंडिंग मिलेगी. Absolutely. So here what we understand first of all is that depth perception is innate to a great extent. All right. Okay. Yes, we learn, we make it finer eventually, but then some part of it is at least innate. Now, why are we suddenly moving on to perception? Have we studied biological basis ki foundation? Have we studied before this class? Yes, we did personality, but before this, have we studied biological basis? Okay. So how your syllabus or in a general psychology book, if you see, जब हम brain को understand करते हैं, उसके बाद हम move on करते हैं cognitive processes को understand करने के लिए, ठीक है? So we will understand sensation, then we will understand attention, then we will understand perception, then we will understand learning, then memory, and then finally intelligence and thinking and language and all that. These are actually in a particular order. ठीक है? क्या है ये? ये एक order में है और इन processes की hierarchy है. Can I say that perception cannot occur if sensation has not happened? When I'm processing a piece of information and when I'm trying to understand something new, can I say जब तक sensation ना हो तो perception नहीं होगी, जब तक sensation ना हो attention नहीं होगा? Absolutely. So very important for us to start off with sensation and understand some basic ways of taking in sensory information. All right. Okay. Fine. तो energy वाले senses हैं, chemical senses हैं, and body position वाले senses हैं. Can I say that we are very aware of these? ये 5 हमने काफी किए हैं, पहले 5. Yes. Now body position senses वाले, this is also known as proprioception. You can think of it as your sixth sense. Alright. What does proprioception mean? Now for this vestibular sense, there are actually, ये कान है ना, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, सेमी सर्कुलर कैनाल्स ऐसे होते हैं, कान के बाहर नहीं, अंदर ही. Okay, inside. Okay, you have the utricule and what else? You have many structures. You have fluid-filled semicircular canals over here, saccule and utricule. ठीक है. What happens is these help in maintaining balance of the head. क्या आपने कभी नोटिस किया है जब भी आपको मोशन सिकनेस होती है, जनरली जब आप ऊपर नीचे या तो हिली एरिया में ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, या तो आप एरोप्लेन में हो, या तो आप रोलर कोस्टर में हो? Have you ever noticed? Yeah, absolutely. Now see, these generally, the semicircular canals along with our parietal lobe basically will give our body information about the position of the head. ठीक है. Vestibular senses सबसे ज्यादा important है किसके लिए? Position of head. And therefore body, मतलब आप straight हैं, lying down हैं या वैसा कुछ, वो आपको vestibular senses बताएंगे. Then there are also kinesthetic senses. Kinesthetic senses are present in our tendons and joints. We all have joints. Don't say I don't have. We all have joints. In our ankles, in our knees, in our elbows and all of that. तो वो क्या करता है, वहां पे क्या होता है तो सबके तो हैं. All right. So that gives us information about the position of our body. Typically we'll understand in the form of, when a cricketer is playing. क्या cricketer को पता होता है कि कहाँ से ball आएगी and this and that? हमसे better पता होता है ना थोड़ा, वो guess कर पाते हैं. They are able to guess. Yes. The cricketer is generally able to guess where the ball is going to come from, and therefore they're going to hit accordingly, right? That is basically their tendons, their joints and all have these kinesthetic senses, which are actually telling them about the position of the body, position of movement of objects against the position of the body as well in their surroundings. ठीक है. Position and movement of body. All right. So far, are we clear? Please let me know if we are clear. Any doubts so far? Please ask if there are doubts. Also cold coffee and not Coca-Cola or whatever. Say no to sugar. All right. Okay. All right. चलिए. Ma'am, cochlea is what part? Cochlea is a part of the inner ear, ठीक है, where actually transduction happens. तो ये देखते हैं ये transduction क्या होता है. All right. Now you saw a beautiful butterfly. Butterfly has generally many colors. बचपन में छोटी books में भी होते थे and all of that. Vestibular sense गए semicircular canals में होता है. Semicircular canals कहाँ होते हैं? आपके कानों के अंदर के हिस्से में होते हैं. Present in the inner portion of the inner ear. ठीक है? Okay. All right. What do? They have some fluid. When the fluid moves and shakes, we understand कि हमारा head move कर रहा है. I will do all of these again for you in the plus class. अभी आप बस थोड़ा सा understand करने की कोशिश करो. Okay? And relax, deep breathe, don't panic. If you feel like हमें नहीं आता है, कोई बात नहीं. I'm here ना. If you knew everything, why would you be in class? है ना? So it is completely fine. At least if you understand 30% to 50% of what I'm explaining in class, now that's great. That means that you have the capacity to learn much more. That's all. Chaliye. All right. Okay. Please don't panic. Now here we are talking about transduction. ये transduction क्या होता है? Now see, light. Do we perceive light or do we perceive color? आपको क्या लगता है? बटरफ्लाई के जो कलर्स होते हैं वो एक्चुअली बटरफ्लाई के विंग्स पे जो है लाइट फॉल होती है. ओके, इट्स द लाइट दैट फॉल्स इन द विंग्स ऑफ द बटरफ्लाई एंड देयरफोर व्हाटएवर रिफ्लेक्ट्स फ्रॉम इट is what we perceive. We don't perceive the actual physical light rays. That be too much, right? Now energy, when we see it as physical energy, चाहे वो sound energy हो, चाहे वो picture की energy हो, visual energy हो, और कोई tactile energy हो, ये हम कन्वर्ट करते हैं, बिकॉज हाउ डज आवर बॉडी कम्युनिकेट इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन द इनसाइड? हाउ डज इट कम्युनिकेट? कैन एनीबडी टेल मी? वी हैव डिस्कस्ड न्यूरॉन्स कैसे एक दूसरे से कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. हाउ डू वी एक्चुअली कम्युनिकेट विद इन आवर बॉडी? वी हैव एक्शन पोटेंशियल्स एंड वी हैव न्यूरोट्रांसमिशंस, है ना? दो तरीके हैं, दो तरीके हैं. वेरी वेरी गुड, very good. That's all. That means our nerves are actually the ones which are communicating information. We have the sensory nerves. So here, if I'm taking in information, afferent or efferent nerves, which one would be more useful to me? अगर मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन स्टिमुलस से अंदर लेनी है, अंडरस्टैंड करनी है, कौन से नर्व्स मेरे लिए ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हैं? Afferent nerves. Very good. Afferent nerves. Yes. Okay. All right. Now for me to perceive anything, ये perception क्या होता है? Perception is being able to differentiate, being able to understand, being able to judge. All of that is possible only when I have actually taken in the stimulus. जब हमने sensation को experience किया है, attention pay किया है उसको, फिर उसको filter किया है और उसके बाद हम perceive या understand, differentiate कर पाते हैं. All right. Now I basically take it. See, stimulation is, I saw butterfly. Wow, so beautiful. What color is it? Someone might ask you. What do you say? Depends on how the light waves actually fall first on your cornea, then on your lens, then on your retina, and then the ganglion cell and whatever आपकी optic nerve कैसे लेके जाती है ये information on our primary visual cortex. ये है ना visual cortex? All right. Okay. ठीक है. Wonderful. Wonderful. ठीक. चलो. Now so far are we clear that physical energy is converted into neural energy. Neural energy can be electrical as an action potential or neurotransmissions which are chemical in nature. ठीक है. तो electrochemical information we exchange or we change it into what do we actually take in? हम अंदर लेते हैं फिजिकल एनर्जी, इसको हम कन्वर्ट करते हैं इलेक्ट्रोकेमिकल या न्यूरल एनर्जी में, and that is basically communicated to the brain. Then we understand and then we act accordingly, right? If it's a butterfly, you will put your hand out for the butterfly to come sit on. If it's a hawk or a crow, do you also put your hand out for it to sit on? Or if it's a scary insect? Absolutely. So this plays a role in our actions as well. ठीक है? Okay, we have understood the basics. We have understood the basics, right? Now we need to understand कि particularly ये transduction कहाँ होती है. For those of you who have enrolled into Plus, I will be explaining this again to you to, in further detail as well. For those of you who are appearing for master's entrances and don't have Plus, please do it from here itself. So visual receptor. Now we know that for light to be taken in, it has to be received somewhere, है ना? अगर हम लाइट एनर्जी अंदर लेते हैं तो उसको कन्वर्ट करना है ना न्यूरल एनर्जी में, वो कहाँ होगा? ओके, so that the process of converting physical or chemical or sound energy into actual action potentials and neurotransmission, that process is known as transduction. Okay, all right, process को transduction कहते हैं. तो ये जो है आपका कहाँ, हाँ, तो ये ट्रांसडक्शन की लोकेशन आपको याद रखनी है, ठीक है? We must remember the location at which this transduction is actually taking place. For visual energy, it takes place at the rods and cones, which are our photoreceptors. Okay, rod cells and cone cells जो retina पे present होती हैं. Like I said, अगर आपको ये नहीं आता है, I will be teaching all of this. Please start reading the book which I have sent you. Please start attending the foundation course also. आपको जो क्लास देखना है कल की रिवीजन के लिए, वो भी मैंने शेयर कर दिया है अपडेट सेक्शन में. प्लीज वॉच इट. ऑलराइट, ऑडिटरी ट्रांसडक्शन विल टेक प्लेस वेयर? एट द कोक्लियर, इनर पार्ट ऑफ द ईयर. ठीक है, आप अभी उतना ही बस याद रखो. आई विल टीच यू स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द ईयर आल्सो. देन टैक्टाइल मतलब टच वाला ट्रांसडक्शन कहाँ होता है? एट टैक्टाइल सेल जोन. ऑलराइट, स्किन सेल जोन. Then olfaction happens where? Olfactory receptor cells. All right, okay, which are present in the nostrils. Then you have gustation. Gustation मतलब taste. Taste कहाँ पे होता है? Taste buds होती हैं. Now these actually are not that important for us, लेकिन audio visual very important. across different exams. So if you understood auditory, visual, क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ हो रहा है, we'll move on. Where is the transduction exactly happening? I will explain the structure of the ear as well as the eye to you in plus classes. So please don't worry about it. I don't want any of you to panic either. We are sorted. Please don't worry. You don't need to refer to any other book except for absolute basics if you're weak in basics. अगर आप basics में weak हो तो please reach out. Okay, चलिए. Now we after sensation क्या करना है? You see, now everything that I sense, let us say I can sense that it's hot right now. I can also sense that the fan is on right now. I can also sense my neighbor's kid is probably playing outside. Is all of this information important to me? And must I pay attention to all of it? Like आपके siblings आपके सामने डांस कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं मुझे नहीं पता. कोई कह रहा है चलो यार चाय पियेंगे, but you're not going because you're in class. कोई और कुछ कह रहा है, neighbors may be talking to each other, it may be about the rain, maybe it's smelling like damp earth, लेकिन all of that is not important right now. So does it make sense for me to try to attend to or take in all of the information which is actually available through the senses? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. See, for me to actually reduce my cognitive load and for me to function efficiently, मेरे efficiently function करने के लिए हम choose करते हैं हम किस चीज को attend करेंगे अपनी environment में और किस चीज को हम attend नहीं करेंगे. Alright? So attention is mostly actually an executive process. Okay? Where we simply decide whether based on expectations or our memories, alright, whether something is important enough for me to pay attention to or not, है ना? आपको कैसे पता कि जो बच्चा खेल रहा है गार्डन में उस पे ध्यान देना important नहीं है? Because that's your neighbor's kid. What have you got to do with it? You've done this before and you saw that it wasn't very productive for you. ठीक है? And that very, very important type of attention is known as selective attention, जो आप सब अभी कर रहे हो. You are tuning down multiple distractions, है ना? Families में ऐसा भी होता है. A lot of times you're sharing a room with your sibling, right? Sometimes one, sometimes maybe two, or maybe you are sitting with your family. Not a lot of time will you have a room which is dedicatedly yours, which nobody comes into. सोचो आप अपने रूम में बैठे हो, still somebody comes inside and says, हाँ मैं तुम्हारे पास बैठूं थोड़ी देर. Absolutely. So what are you doing even while you're attending class? You're toning down or tuning down other distractions while you mentally completely focus on the class. है ना? Okay, that is selective attention. Now, are there other types of attention as well? There are. और ये कहाँ से start होता है? तो पहले we need to start focusing. Okay, or we first of all need to be aroused and awake. ठीक है? तो हमें awake और aroused होना है, तभी हम कोई चीज को attend कर सकते हैं. Then we must show focused attention. That means, okay, this is something I should start focusing on. After that, I should sustain this attention. मुझे attention को continue, जारी रखना है. See, if you started the class, you can't be like 5 minutes later, okay, now I can't pay attention. Yeah. Third is, now you know there are distractions and therefore you must tone down the distractions and therefore focus only on your class. Okay. उसके बाद even higher and more difficult is alternating. Alternating is आप 5 मिनट Facebook चेक कर रहे हो, you're turning off the class, and 5 मिनट आप class देख रहे हो, क्या समझ आएगा? You have to have some kind of expertise. Now something which is commonly done, of course, something that is commonly done is while doing a hobby. Let's say you're painting a picture also, and maybe you're writing in your journal also, right? So you will do this for 5 minutes and then you will do that for 5 minutes. Or you're cooking and you're reading something. So you read for 5 minutes and then you cook for a few minutes. It's like that. Like you keep stirring and stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, Sharon. Thank you for sharing. Most complicated is divided attention. Divided attention is like juggling between multiple tasks. Okay. तो ऑल्टरनेटिंग में क्या होता है? ऑल्टरनेटिंग में आप कभी भी क्या आप मल्टीटास्क कर रहे हो? बताइए. अभी एनी टाइम एट ऑल इन ऑल्टरनेटिंग अटेंशन डूइंग मल्टीटास्किंग. No multitasking, because I'm separately doing one task, taking a break, doing another task. Very, very good. Divided attention is when I multitask. जब हम मल्टीटास्क कर रहे हैं, आप देखते हैं जगलर होते हैं ना, you will see in like these magic shows and all, literally like you're juggling between multiple different tasks. Okay, all right, this is the most difficult type of attention. We will do multiple theories on these in the plus classes. Okay, all right, चलिए ठीक है, wonderful. Guys, ये सही order है, because sustain में you just have to sustain, you're not toning down any distractions. Okay, whereas in selective you also have to sustain and you have to tone down distractions. Always remember that in focused attention you're just beginning. Sustain में you have to remain focused now for a long period of time. So just like we have ordinal interval data, each feature, each type of attention incorporates the previous type and added features. समझ रहे हैं आप? It's like PlayStation 2 में PlayStation 1 के फीचर्स भी होते हैं, लेकिन नए फीचर्स भी होते हैं. I would say iPhone, लेकिन उसमें नया कभी कुछ होता है, right? An upgraded version of a phone will have the old features also and new features, like that this one also. ठीक है? All right, okay. Now we will talk about bottom up and top down perception. Here we have Hubel Wiesel who talk about bottom up perception, क्योंकि हम stimulus से control होते हैं. Whether we are going to look at something only if we find it interesting, will our feature detector cells actually decode it. Then we have Helmholtz's theory. What did he talk about? Something about vision. What did he talk about? Can anybody name the theory? Okay, Sharon, thank you for letting me know. Trichromatic theory, absolutely. So can I say trichromatic theory of vision, where you have red, green, and blue, the primary colors, which is basically different types of cones. हाँ जी, वो छोड़ो आप. But can I tell you here that sensation and perception are different? Perception हम actively construct करते हैं. क्या ऐसा हम कह सकते हैं? According to this constructionist theory of Helmholtz, I'll teach you in the future again, obviously. Sensation is not equal to perception. ये हम पक्का सीखेंगे and remember करेंगे. ठीक है? Sensation is not equal to perception. Perception is to meaningfully understand, to deconstruct, to describe, to be able to differentiate between one stimulus and another. Sensation is just that something is basically, something touches you, so you're like, sensation. वो है क्या, उसको समझना is perception. Okay, all right. Now, what is top-down and bottom-up perception? We often talk about these two, and a lot of times learners still remain confused. Now, we will move on from theories of attention. Most theories of attention are actually bottleneck theories. We will read about ये क्या होता है, cocktail party phenomena, and all of that. Also, we'll do, but in the main course. ठीक है? अभी तक, if we have any doubts, please ask. Otherwise, we'll go on. When knowledge and cognition comes, it's perception, na ma'am. Cognition is not perception. Perception is a part of your cognition. Sensation is also part of cognition. Attention is also part of cognition. Memory and learning are also part of cognition. Cognition just refers to overall mental process. Okay? When we have deep knowledge and understanding of something, yes, it is perceived. That is correct. All right. Now, top-down perception. ठीक है? आप सोचो कि हम top-down happiness की ही बात करें. Top-down perception ought to mean that it starts somewhere with me. Can I say? ये मेरी memory से start होता है, ये मेरे aspiration से start होता है. Say if I'm at the train station and I'm looking for a friend who is today wearing a red sweater. ठीक है? Okay. What kind of perception is that? Where is it starting? Is it starting at everybody who has a red sweater? Am I finding the red sweater interesting? या ऐसा है कि मेरी expectation है कि मेरे friend ने red sweater पहनी है, इस वजह से मैं ढूंढूं, right? So in top-down processing, you are already expecting and looking for something. ठीक है, आपके memories, our motivations, our expectancies basically guide us towards finding what we are looking for, right? Okay, and that's top-down processing. So if any process starts like this, ये आपको याद रखना है, okay? If any theory starts like this, it is a top-down theory. Can I say बाद में हम लोगों में से ढूंढने के लिए we will look for multiple or we will look at multiple people who have red sweaters? Yes, yes. So remember always that even if bottom up or top down occurs first, later the other one will occur. मतलब अगर यहाँ पे हमने पहले top down किया है, इसके बाद हम bottom up करेंगे. We will actually sift among people. But what matters to classify a theory as top down or bottom up or any phenomena is how it actually begins. ठीक है, हमें beginning में ज़्यादा what do I say interest है. That is what we are interested in. That is what we will focus on. How a process actually begins. Now, therefore, for bottom up, can I say that we are initially actually interested in somebody because they're wearing a bright pink sweater. क्या हम ऐसा कह सकते हैं कि bottom up में क्योंकि किसी ने रोड पे bright pink कलर की ड्रेस पहनी है तो हम उनकी तरफ देख रहे हैं because they are wearing, we don't know them, and then we think, do I know this person? And then I recognize them, they turn out to be my distant relative. तो क्या इसको हम अभी भी bottom up कहेंगे या फिर इसको top down ही कहेंगे end में? Bottom up, because it starts with an interesting stimulus. We were not looking for this person, we couldn't care. Relatives को कैसे भी कौन ढूंढता है, वो भी distant, right? So what happens over here is we are interested in the stimulus to begin with, and therefore later we try to recognize who it is. So bottom up जो है ये हमेशा stimulus से start होता है, और top down जो है ये हमेशा हमारी memories और expectations से start. बॉटम अप प्रोसेसिंग, ठीक है, या बॉटम अप परसेप्शन, टॉप डाउन परसेप्शन भी आप इसको कह सकते हैं. ऑलराइट, इफ वी आर क्लियर हियर प्लीज लेट मी नो. If we are, then we are good to go. We'll move on to the other part. All right, wonderful. I'm actually really excited for the full course tomorrow. So it's a lot of fun to learn about philosophers. Yeah, regardless of what other people think. Ma'am, I thought it was 27 today. Then what did you do? Just keep the excitement till tomorrow. Now in perception, in studying perception, आपको अगर एक चीज study करनी है perception में, छोड़ो आप theories and this and that and all, gestalt perception, okay? Pronounced actually as Gestalt, okay? Because it's German, but that's too cringy, so we will still call it Gestalt, ठीक है? Okay, Shruti, thank you for letting me know. All right, that's great. I love having as many of you as possible in live classes. Because then live classes means a lot of interaction, and I love interacting with all of you. Right, I have told you before also, the best part of teaching for me is to interact with as many of you as possible. And it's basically the hope that all of you will go on to do great things in the field of psychology. That is why we are here. We are not here for mediocre, we are not here to settle, we are not here to okay, yaar, pass kar lenge. We are not here for that. Anyway, let's come back. Chalo guys, now absolutely nothing less than excellence. We can't settle in life. All right, now gestalt perception actually, ma'am, emergence not necessary for MPhil prep, right? Not necessary for MPhil prep, although there is some component of Indian psychology. So if you're only writing MPhil exams, then you can leave it up. If you're not, if you're writing NET also, then please attend. Me too, 1+ for ma'am only. Means a lot to me, A lot of you are. And I have told you every day that I'm very, very grateful because I have the most amazing learners. Because, all of you work hard and all of you are interested in your own life, and all of you are quite motivated as well. And that's basically, that is what keeps us going, right? That is why we do what we do. Alright, चलो guys, ठीक है. Now gestalt perception में क्या होता है ये तो पहले study करें. We know that the field itself was officially recognized in 1935. 1935, yes, okay. When this guy Kurt Kafka was the one who used to publish more. But what actually happened in around 1911 and 1912, okay, this guy Max Wertheimer, who's actually the real founder of Gestalt psychology, Max Wertheimer, when traveling through a train to Frankfurt, saw this stroboscope, ठीक है, लाइट्स और ये वो, और देखा कि पोल्स जल्दी जल्दी ऐसे मूव हो रहे थे जैसे. Alright, so he basically understood, he discovered something called the phi phenomenon. ठीक है, he bought a toy stroboscope and therefore he discovered the phi phenomenon. अब ये phi phenomenon क्या होता है? This is actually a type of apparent motion, and based on this very illusion, क्या है ये illusion है motion का. Based on this very illusion, he proposed, or they, the three of them, formed the school of Gestalt psychology. Now, in the phi phenomenon, you have one line or one bar of light which is flashed. ऐसे सोचो आप, ठीक है? ये सोचो, this is a bar of light which is flashed, and there is another one. इनको हम physical distance से थोड़ी separate करते हैं, ठीक है? इनको थोड़ी distance से separate करना जरूरी है. और इनको हम within 30 to 200 milliseconds, fraction of a moment, right? इनको हम ऐसे ऐसे मूव करते हैं, एक को रखते हैं फील्ड में और एक को निकाल देते हैं. समझ रहे हैं आप? It's not like this. It's not like this. It is, one is kept right there. This is actually what this is a GIF with continuous motion, but नहीं होता है. It doesn't show up in the Unacademy slide. Anyway, what happens is one is kept and the other one is removed. ऐसे is how we basically keep one light and we remove the other. What actually happens यहाँ पे क्या होता है? ऐसा लगता है कि one plate of light or one bar of light is actually just replacing the other. Circular motion हम यहाँ पे perceive करते हैं, ठीक है? ऐसा लगता है as though one bar of light is actually replacing the other one. All right, okay, fine. So that is the phi phenomenon. What you see in a circular motion, that is beta phenomenon. Now this is apparent motion क्योंकि हमने discontinuous motion को continuous perceive किया. Understanding? We have perceived discontinuous motion, which is just the moving of these bars, as continuous circular motion. According to that, now why do we do this? Is it because why do we do this? Forget the fact that our eyes up to a certain beyond a certain speed are not able to perceive. लेकिन क्यों करते हैं ये? या हमारा brain ऐसे क्यों construct करता है? Can I say sometimes we think, sometimes we, by mistake think that we saw our friend when it's actually somebody else. होता है कभी? We incorrectly recognize people. Absolutely, Sharon. Can I say we actually want life to be simple? हम simplicity चाहते हैं perception में, and therefore sometimes illusions occur because of our expectations, right? I expect things to move in a circular fashion. अब कौन इतना दिमाग लगाएगा? I don't want to strain my eyes and keep looking at two bars, so it's easier for me to assume, हाँ चलो apparently ये motion हो रही है and they are replacing one another, or it's just circular motion, right? Simpler for me to perceive, simpler for me to understand. Apparent motion, you can also call this illusory motion, because is this a real continuous motion? क्या ये real continuous motion है? नहीं है. One is not replacing the other. Okay, all right. It's not a continuous pattern of light. I'll give you another example, which is actually beta phenomenon. लेकिन ये stroboscopic effect पे ही based है ये चीजें, and they're called apparent motion. Okay. Now, when you have your Apple laptop or anything at all, you will see the loading sign. Yes. Loading sign. One lights up, then another lights up, then another. I'm sorry, I'm bad at drawing. But what happens is actually ये individual ये bit light up होती है, इसके बाद ये bit light up होती है, ये bit, just like you have your Diwali lights, just like you have your sweet shop के lights and all of that. we perceive as though it is a single light which is moving. Move कुछ नहीं करती है. It's different bars of light. One lights up, then another, then another. So that there's actually no motion there, right? But we perceive the single light to be moving. All right, Vikram, no problem. Chal, clear here? Yeah. Now we'll look at what they gave and some laws to organize objects actually. ठीक है? Yes, Occam's razor is that we will choose the simplest explanation possible. Not just we will choose. Occam's razor says the simplest explanation is possibly true. So that is not the case here. Gestalt perception says, why does it say whole is greater than the sum of its parts? हम simplify करना चाहते हैं perception. It says that perception is based on our memory, on our innate knowledge, and our expectation. And therefore, if perception is based on innate knowledge, on expectations, on memory, is it top down or bottom up? According to Gestalt, I'm not asking you overall. जो मैंने आपको explain किया, ये top down की वजह से हो रहा है या bottom up की वजह से हो रहा है? After a point, we don't want to pay attention to the stimulus. I want to believe what my brain is telling me. हाँ ठीक है, चलो ठीक है. Okay, top down only. Top down, top, right? Top down person. Absolute, absolute. Very, very good. So Gestalt says overall, sometimes what we do is we just want to perceive the simplest possible figure, whether it is real or whether it is not real, and whether it's the correct answer or not, doesn't matter. We want to simplify our life because life is complicated enough already. है ना? So first of all, we have the law of pregnance. जो एक्चुअली आपका प्रिंसिपल है, जो आपके लॉज ऑफ परसेप्चुअल ग्रुपिंग को एक्सप्लेन करता है. ओके, लॉ ऑफ प्रेग्नेंस एक्चुअली इज एन ओवरऑल और ऑल एनकम्पसिंग लॉ व्हिच एक्चुअली इंक्लूड्स द रेस्ट ऑफ योर परसेप्चुअल ग्रुपिंग लॉज. ठीक है, वो सारे इसी प्रिंसिपल पे बेस्ड है. दिस इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मिनिमम परसेप्शन. मतलब हम लीस्ट एफर्ट डालना चाहते हैं. नाउ वी नो दैट व्हेन वी सी द ओलंपिक सर्कल्स, दिस इज व्हाट दे लुक लाइक. ओलंपिक्स वाले सर्कल्स ऐसे होते हैं, राइट? बट इफ यू आस्क मी विदाउट मी रीडिंग, यू नो, कि ऐसे होते हैं, हम ऐसे परसीव करते हैं, आई विल से कि ऐसे होते हैं ओलंपिक सर्कल्स, राइट? इफ यू आस्क मी, आई विल से ए इज हाउ दे आर रादर देन बी. यस और नो? ओलंपिक सबको पता है ना क्या होता है? हैपेंस एवरी 4 years. वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप इन स्पोर्ट्स. Absolutely. It was hosted once in India also, no? Recently. New Delhi. 18, 19? I don't remember the year. था लेकिन एक बार इंडिया में भी था. Okay, never mind. So basically, law of pregnancy means that we want to perceive the simplest possible figure. And this is due to our memories and our expectations, right? We don't want to complicate things. And based on this very law, you have some other laws of perceptual grouping. Okay, we'll come back to figure and ground. Figure and ground is not a law of perceptual grouping. So actually, main laws of perceptual organization or perceptual grouping are only 4. पहले 4 ओरिजिनल जो इन्होंने दिए थे, किसने दिए थे? मैक्स वर्थहाइमर, कर्ट कॉफका, along with वोल्फगैंग कोलन. इन तीनों ने मिलके ये सारे लॉज दिए. ओके, मेजर कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वर्थहाइमर. So we have the law of proximity, we have the law of continuity. Why is it that we choose and how is it that we choose the simplest perception possible? And then we have the law of closure and we have the law of similarity. Okay, symmetry and this and that and good continuation, and those are different. Okay, common fate, they are not part of the original laws of perceptual grouping. आपको याद रखना है, ये 4 हैं primary. Net will sometimes ask you which of the following is not a part of the laws of perceptual grouping. These 4 are the original authentic ones. Oh, okay, all right. Now I'll explain to you what each of them means. Proximity is things that are near one another are grouped together. You may tell me, if I ask you how many hearts, will you tell me small and big and this and that, or will you just say 6 hearts? 6 and 6 and 6, 18 hearts. 3 sets of 6 hearts. वही है ना? 6, 6, 6. Doesn't matter the size and all, they are close to one another. जो एक दूसरे के करीब है, हाँ, डिस्टेंस में, उसको हम एक साथ ग्रुप कर देते हैं. Right? Absolutely. Now continuity. Right? Okay. All right. even though I could easily break this down into boxes, even though I could basically see this as a line of dot. But no, I want continuity in my experience. ठीक है, मुझे क्या चाहिए एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, आई वांट टू सिंप्लीफाई माय एक्सपीरियंस और मुझे कंटिन्यूटी यहाँ पे परसीव करनी है. तो लाइन ऑफ डॉट्स के बजाय वी परसीव एन एक्चुअल लाइन, right? And here, rather than perceiving little blocks or parts of this, we perceive that it's a zigzag line plus some squares. Alright? Like this, can I say is still S if it's not a dollar? If I tell you which letter of the alphabet is this, अगर मैं आपको पूछूं ये कौन सा लेटर है आपके अल्फाबेट में से, तो आप S ही कहेंगे ना, you will not say G or P or R. Correct, absolutely. क्योंकि even if I cover it with something, you will perceive continuity. ठीक है? Okay. All right. Wonderful. Then we also have closure. Closure is particularly understood with respect to completing incomplete shapes. ये हम काफी करते हैं लाइफ में, ठीक है? A lot of times you will see signboards and such are basically half erased, या आपके सामने कोई और है. Let's say there's a cricket match going on. You want to see the score, but somebody else is standing in front of you. So you see something like this. Then can I say this must be a 6? And you see something like this, then it must be a 0, right? बाकी का हम fill in कर लेते हैं. We want to close. We basically show the effect of closure and we perceive a complete figure even though it's an incomplete figure. Likewise with triangles, with squares, with circles and so on, with all shapes. Absolutely. हम closed figure perceive करते हैं क्योंकि वो हमारे लिए simple है perceive कर. ठीक है? Then we have similarity. What is similarity? Not only do we group based on proximity, closure or continuity, we also group on the basis of similarity. Now here, all of these are circles. But what letter do I see inside? यहाँ पे सारे सर्कल्स हैं, छोटे 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 बॉल्स या सर्कल्स आप कह सकते हैं, लेकिन अंदर क्लियरली आप अगर परसीव करेंगे, नंबर या लेटर में आपको जो बोलूं आप कर सकते हो परसीव. That is because there is some similarity in all of the balls which are green in color, and there is some similarity in all of the balls or the dots which are red in color. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, absolute. 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 ठीक है? And those are your 4 laws of perceptual grouping. Okay. All right. Please remember, fragments is just the overall phenomena of how we perceive according to Gestalt. Laws of perceptual grouping are these 4. And then in addition, actually, long before, I think in 1905, there was a psychologist called Rubin, Edgar Rubin. Okay. All right. And this very popularly is known as Rubin's vase or vase. ठीक है? आपको जो pronunciation better लगती है, आप वो वाली कर लो. So what does this actually mean and why was he so interested in it? You see now, depending on our previous experiences, depending on our tendencies to see things, and depending on what's important to us, we will either perceive this as faces or as a vase. Okay? Now, if you're a person who sees faces all day, आप सोचो आप receptionist हो या मैं receptionist हूँ. I am used to seeing faces all day. All day. All right? Then am I more likely to say that I see faces rather than a vase? Can I say that? Can I say that? Okay. All right. Wonderful. Absolutely. Absolute. Right? But what if I'm somebody who makes vases on a daily basis? Then I may be more likely to perceive. Okay. It basically means, देखिए, now you and I are very, very well aware of the fact that this can be viewed as a vase as well as a face. It doesn't really matter. A lot of theories will also say कि right or left में, cerebral hemispheres में dominance कहाँ पे है. Not very highly proved theories. All right. Now here what depends is how our previous experiences drive. ये तो काफी simple है. There's another picture in Morgan and King, it was there, of an old lady and a young woman's face. There people will argue. There people will argue and say, no, this is only an old woman. No, this is only a young woman. So that is more contextual. Yes, simple hai. Everybody will be able to see the face also, the face also. Mostly. Good to go? This is not a part of your laws of perceptual grouping. Yes, ये gestalt perception का हिस्सा है, लेकिन ये आपके perceptual grouping के laws में से एक नहीं है. Here we just mean, yeah, the gold and the blue dress. Depending on our previous experiences, we are bound to perceive something as a figure, the basically center of attention. Yeah, and then some parts of the picture we are bound to perceive as the background, which is not so important to us. Chaliye, we are good to go, hopefully. All right. So these are notes. Then we will talk about monocular and binocular cues of depth perception. You'll see a lot of times I forgot to attach. I forgot to put the picture of a painting. A lot of times you see beautiful paintings, right? Art is in general a lot of times really beautiful, है ना? और उस एक पेंटिंग में ही आप क्या देखते हैं या देख सकते हैं? As in, चलो ये तो अच्छी पेंटिंग नहीं है, but here itself, can I say that the trees come before the buildings? Can I say that? Trees जो है यहाँ पे buildings के सामने आते हैं. Okay. Can I say कि car trees से भी आगे है? Can I say कि क्योंकि buildings are looking smaller than the car, they are far away from the car? Can I say that? I can perceive a lot of things right from this picture itself. इनको monocular cues और binocular cues क्यों कहते हैं? We'll try to understand first. Okay? All of these are cues which help us perceive depth. Okay? क्या हमने earlier भी discuss किया था that we are able to perceive 3D images only because of depth perception, right? Particularly binocular cues of depth perception. Now, monocular cues are those for which one eye is enough for us to perceive. ठीक है? Now, if I talk about monocular cues such as interposition, मतलब if I put like this, one hand is covering the other hand and one hand is behind the other hand. Let's say if I hold the mug, I'm holding the mug and you don't think that the mug comes before my hand. Yeah. So monocular cues can be perceived with the help of one eye. Monocular cues को understand करने के लिए या उनको पहचानने के लिए, उनको देखने के लिए एक आंख का ही इस्तेमाल आपको करना है. आपको दोनों आंखों का इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है जरूर. All right. And binocular cues are those cues which must have the use of both the eyes. All right? Oh, ठीक है. Monocular cues can be understood individually with each eye. Using both also you can understand. It's not a condition as though only with one eye you must understand it. लेकिन हम यहाँ पे minimum requirement state कर रहे हैं. मतलब अगर आप at least एक आंख खोलोगे या किसी की एक आंख functioning है, तो वो monocular cues perceive कर सकते हैं. Can I say that? Anybody who has at least one eye which is functioning and anybody who at least makes the use of one eye can perceive monocular cues. Okay? Now, cues can be of depth in terms of pictorial cues, okay, or they can be motion-related cues. All of these are relevant to gestalt psychology. Pictorial cues मतलब आप picture की तरफ देख के perceive करेंगे कि depth है. That means one thing is nearer, another is farther, one thing is textured, another thing isn't. Or you may perceive motion, like motion parallax. Have you ever heard about motion parallax based on relative motion, based on apparent motion? कि आप ट्रेन में बैठे हैं या आप कार में बैठे हैं, you are sitting in a car or you are sitting in a bus and you are driving through. Okay, all right, you're in the passenger seat. Now here, when you look out your window, it's your surroundings that seem to move. While you feel like you are stationary. आपको ऐसे लगता है कि आप ही एक जगह पे हो और आपके surroundings ही move कर रहे हैं, right? Moon, no. That is apparent distance, so that is moon illusion. That's not this. Now, what was I saying? हाँ, आप कार में हैं, ट्रेन में हैं, बाइक पे हैं, doesn't matter. Now, what happens is objects that are really close to you, like these small trees and benches and all of this will appear to move really fast. ठीक है? जो आपको 14 meters से कम distance पे हो, that appears to move really quickly. Whereas whatever is in the distance will appear to move really slowly. But monocular cues, this motion parallax is a monocular cue. ठीक है? Okay. Another really interesting monocular, would I call this a cue of pictorial depth or would I call it a cue of motion? motion. Can I call this apparent motion as well? Because I am perceiving motion in my surroundings, but my surroundings are not moving. मेरी surroundings move नहीं कर रही. Okay. Okay. I will call this apparent or illusory motion. Okay. This is not stroboscopic. Stroboscopic is only discontinuous is perceived as continuous motion, but this is apparent or illusory motion. Okay. Okay. Fine. Another really interesting cue is accommodation. Monocular muscular cue. इसको oculomotor बोलते हैं, मतलब आंखों के मसल से ये कंट्रोल होता है. Okay. Monocular and muscular cue. क्या आप कभी स्कोर देखने जाते हैं? आप सोचो that you don't have your specs in front of you. You're watching a football match, you're watching a cricket match, whatever you're watching. Score is generally on the left side, bottom, right side, top, in a very, very small, font. Yes. And then let's say you don't have your glasses. What do? You basically squint and you go like this. Yes. You squint. ऐसे जाते हैं ना. और अगर आप एक आंख से भी करेंगे वो, तो you will see things clearer. Can I say that? We're actually bending our lens so that the light falls near to the fovea. Okay. All right. Remember, this is always monocular. कौन सा? Accommodation. Accommodation. If we are good to go here, please let me know. Or if you have doubts, also please let me know. अभी तक कोई doubts हैं आपको तो please बताएं. Induced motion is what happens in the moon illusion, Pratiksha. When one object basically appears to be inducing motion in another stationary object. Okay. Like it is the clouds that move, but it is induced motion. Motion parallax is apparent motion. In the sense we are moving, but we perceive something else is moving. In induced motion, it is two inanimate objects, दो objects, and we are not part of the motion picture. Okay, yes, Sharon, they are muscular cues. All right, told me, ma'am, that I look angry without my glasses staring at things. It's okay, they should understand the pain of people who have to wear glasses. All right, okay. Now we have other monocular cues which are really easy and really interesting as well. Now, interposition. Interposition is also known as occlusion. Occlusion मतलब when something is partially visible, I understand कि वो दूर है मेरे से, वो पीछे है दूसरी चीजों के. Can I say that? The green circle is positioned behind the blue circle and the blue circle is in front of me. An object that is partially visible cannot be right in front of me. है ना? कार जब आप ट्रैफिक में देखते हो ना ऐसे सर निकाल के कितनी कार्स हैं, हाँ. The one that is most clearly visible to you is the one that's right next to you. The one that is least visible to you is up far ahead. Yes? Okay. Then we have relative size. Again, very, very simple. Now let's say two glasses. आप खाना खाने बैठे और आपने glasses को set किया. Now, wherever you are sitting, that glass will appear a lot larger than the one you kept for your, siblings or your friends or जिसके भी साथ आप खाना खा रहे हैं. Understanding? जो glass आपके सामने है, it will appear a lot larger, and the one that's far away will appear smaller. क्या इसका मतलब है कि वो glass छोटा हो गया वहां रख के? Or is it just that the one that appears larger is in front of you and the one that appears smaller is just a little far ahead? Can I say that? Absolutely. Then we have something called aerial perspective, which is actually sort of not here, but very easy to understand. If you look out your window, see, I can see mountains from my window. But even if you can't see mountains from your window, whatever is far away appears very foggy. Can I say, जितनी दूर तक आप देख सकते हैं कोई चीज, वो क्लियर नहीं होती है. एरियल पर्सपेक्टिव में आप खिड़की खोलो, जो भी है वहां पे, जो दूर की चीज है वो फॉगी दिखेगी आपको, क्लियर नहीं दिखेगी. जो नजदीक की चीज है, that will appear really, really clear. Because whatever we are looking at far away has fog, has smoke, has pollution, which basically covers the atmosphere. Therefore, okay, all right. चलो, उसके बाद टेक्सचर ग्रेडियंट. व्हाट इज टेक्सचर ग्रेडियंट? आप अगर नीचे जमीन की तरफ अभी देखोगे, इफ यू लुक एट योर फ्लोर अराउंड यू, यू विल सी जहां पे भी आप बैठे हो, वेदर इट्स कारपेट, वेदर इट्स वुड फ्लोरिंग, वेदर इट्स स्टोन, व्हाटएवर इट इज, whenever you look right below you, you are clearly able to see the grains of the texture. आपको texture जो है, चाहे वो carpet हो, उसकी smoothness, उसकी shine, wood की actual lines, या फिर stone हो, ठीक है, marble हो, आप एक एक उसका grain देख सकते हैं नजदीक. But when you look far away, everything appears smooth. Everything appears smooth. That is because you're able to see texture when something is near you, and if it's far away, if it appears very, very smooth, that means it's far away from you. That is texture gradient. Okay. All right. Can I say all of these so far are monocular cues? क्या हम ऐसा कह सकते हैं कि अभी तक ये सारे monocular हैं? All right. Wonderful. Then we have relative height or elevation. Now, when I see a tall building, एक बिल्डिंग है, उसका अपर फ्लोर मुझे क्लियरली दिख रहा है, दूसरी बिल्डिंग है, मुझे पता ही नहीं कि इसका अपर फ्लोर कितना ऊंचा है, मैं देख ही नहीं पाती कि इसकी सीलिंग जो लास्ट फ्लोर है वो कितना क्या है. ओके, आई एम नॉट एबल टू सी. then does that mean the building which I'm not able to see the top of is actually taller? क्या ऐसा कह सकते हैं आप? जिस बिल्डिंग के रूफ, जिस बिल्डिंग का रूफ दिखाई देता है, that's nearer to me, whereas the building where I cannot even see the roof, I cannot even see the top floor, that's basically far away, right? The building is much taller than the other building. Yeah, even if they're from two different settings, if I have to compare, ऐसे हम compare this. Then I also have linear perspective. If I look up ahead, then can I say parallel lines seem to converge? जितना आप दूर देखोगे, like railway tracks, even though there are parallel lines on both sides, it seems as they converge. है ना? We know that parallel lines are never going to converge. बस ऐसा दिखता है. Oh, lastly, relative brightness, also known as light and shadow. ठीक है? Relative brightness is also known as light and shadow या light and shade. So can I say here, are you able to see? The top part is where the light falls. Yeah. और यहाँ पे, here I can clearly say the bottom part is where the light is falling, and यहाँ ऊपर के हिस्से में light नहीं आ रही है. Right? Whenever something looks really bright, I can basically say कि वो sun के direction में है. Can I say that? When I see something and bright light falls on it, I can basically say that this is near me, or this is where the sunlight is falling. And whatever, wherever I cannot see, very clearly, or I feel that the color is a little darker, then that's behind, or the sunlight is not falling on. Okay, all right. ठीक है. Are all of these pictorial cues? क्या ये सारी चीजें हम एक पेंटिंग में भी ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं? All of these are pictorial cues, can I say? Very, very correct. These are depth cues, but these are pictorial cues. These are all monocular. If there are any doubts here, please go ahead and ask. अगर आपको कोई भी doubt है अभी तक तो पूछिए. Please ask. No, ma'am. GTG. All right, wonderful. Chalo. Now we must also talk about a relative height. Relative height is, see, I'll actually draw and I'll show you. Let us say this is a building. Okay? This is a building. And this is another house. Okay? Let us say ये अलग एक colony में है. This is in colony B. And this is in colony E. Okay? Now I am today in colony B and tomorrow in colony A. Okay? Now I want to compare कि दोनों में से building कौन ऊंची है. I don't have both of them in front of me. But can I say कि जब हम ऊपर की तरफ देखते हैं तो clearly I can see the roof. I know where the building ends. Okay? I know where the building ends. So can I say here though, when I look, I will basically be here ना, यहाँ होंगे ना हम. Okay? I do not, मेरा visual एंगल जो है, मेरा विजुअल एरिया जो है, माय विजुअल फील्ड एक्चुअली will not allow me to perceive the end of this building. Understanding? हम इसका लास्ट फ्लोर देख भी नहीं सकते. We will not know कितनी ऊंची है बिल्डिंग. तो अगर इन दोनों को कंपेयर करें अंदाजे से, if I can guess and compare both of these, even though I'm not looking at them at the same time, can I say that building in colony is taller? Relative height. Because I was able to perceive the roof of one building and not able to perceive the roof of another building. That's basically it, relative height. Okay. Induced is also a kind of apparent motion. Now, apparent motion is the larger umbrella term. Apparent is anything where there is no real motion and we perceive motion. Apparent में stroboscopic is one type, induced is one type, relative is another type, so different orthokinetic effect is another type. ठीक है? All right. Now, what are binocular cues then? I said monocular cues could be perceived only, even only with the use of one eye. Of course, we can use both eyes, but we don't need to. तो बाइनोक्यूलर क्यूज क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि क्योंकि ये बाइनोक्यूलर कहता है कि यहाँ पे दो आंखों का इस्तेमाल करना बहुत जरूरी है. It is a must and it is compulsory to make use of both of the eyes for binocular cues of perception. Very, very good. Very, very good. Both eyes have to be used. Both eyes have to be used. Now, first binocular cue is retinal disparity. देखिए ये आंखें होती हैं, okay? Don't be like squint बनाया आपने, हाँ. All right. Now this is my visual field, okay? Only when my visual field overlaps, light and shading is created, 3D effect बनता है, and I am able to see a well-rounded figure. ठीक है? Likewise, we'll do a little bit of a test. Put your thumb out, don't move the thumb. Close one eye. Okay? Now close the other. You have not changed the position of the thumb, but what you will see on the screen will be a different picture. So actually, it is the eyes which are at different angles, top and bottom, which the image which falls on either eye is actually different. दोनों आंखों पे जो images आपकी project होती हैं, वो अलग-अलग होती हैं थोड़ी सी. ठीक है? The farther you look, the lesser the disparity, but the closer you look, the more the disparity. Okay? Overlap होती हैं दोनों. Okay. All right. That is retinal disparity. Now convergence actually. So binocular cues give rise to stereoscopic vision, which we have discussed earlier. All right. Now convergence is basically what? Let's say you place something on your 10 centimeters se kam. From the eyes less than 10 to 15 centimeters, you place something. A butterfly sits on your nose, let's say. Or you put a pen here and you try to look at it from both of your eyes. Try to do it. I will not try to do it. I don't want to look awkward on the camera. Let's say, fine, mosquito also works. Just try to look at something which is not too long. Not too long because it will hurt. So eyes ki jo muscles hain, again, this is controlled by muscles only. This is a muscular cue. What happens over here? Both the eyes turn inward. Hai na? And therefore the images overlap. That is convergence. In order for you to view something which is really close to your eyes, this is what you have to do. And therefore, this is only possible as a binocular. So, ye binocular. Okay. All right. Chalo. Let's go. Now, just because objects, appear to change in size and shape and color, do we actually believe they have changed? As in, you see, we use these cues to perceive depth. But do we believe कि actually यहाँ पे ये light color है और ये dark color है और ये बड़ा है और ये छोटा है, ये आधी ही ball है, ऐसे हम perceive करते हैं. We know, see, sensation is not equal to perception. The size of the retinal image changes. जो image आपके retina पे project होती है, उसका size change होता है image का. लेकिन जो हमारा दिमाग समझता है, वहां पे size change नहीं होता है. You see your friend today or you see your professor, right? Now, do I appear I appear really small to you? Yeah, at the end of a screen, but I'm a human being I'm not a miniature person. You know that. Because the concept of constancy. तो हमारा perceptual system जो होता है दिमाग में वो constancy maintain करता है, even though the size of the visual stimulus may keep changing. See, even if I am walking towards you from a large distance, I may appear so much. That doesn't mean that I have reduced in size, or that you have reduced in size, or that your friend is reduced in size when they're far away. So there are three types of constancy. एक होती है size constancy, there is shape constancy, and there is brightness constancy. Now brightness constancy is, आप restaurant गए हो कभी? Must have gone, no? Or you sit, or you put bed lights, bed lamp आप डालते हैं, ठीक है? वो थोड़ा yellow होता है. All right? So let us say you have something red. When you're wearing a red dress or you're wearing a pink dress. When it combines with the yellow light, it will look orange. ठीक है? But you know your dress is still pink. You know it is still pink. That is brightness constancy. Then we have shape constancy. Rectangle, when you put it at an inverted angle. ठीक है? या door जब खुला होता है, it looks very different in shape. But do we know that the door is still a rectangle and it's nothing else? It's not like it suddenly changed in shape. Absolutely. Then size constancy is what I explained to you about people and things. Just because they're far away doesn't mean they got smaller suddenly. Any doubts here? Please ask. अगर आपको यहाँ doubts हैं तो please पूछो. So from tomorrow, this theory class will be at 9 a.m. in the morning. You'll have 3 classes tomorrow and day after. कल और परसों आपके 3 classes होंगे. Friday, you have just the 1 class. Okay, ma'am, my comment. That is why I say we should not keep typing when I'm teaching. Ma'am, what's the difference between convergence and retinal disparity? Convergence is only for objects or images which have to fall around here, 10 centimeters from the eyes. And therefore, the muscles have to work hard to turn inward. All right? Okay. Please ask something which is on this page. Size constancy. Size constancy, I will explain to you. How do I explain to you? ठीक है. चलो. Now you're looking. आप सोचोगे चिन्मयी. ठीक है. आप बैठे हो. ठीक है. ऊपर से एरोप्लेन जा रहा है. एरोप्लेन दूर से कितना दिखता है? Let's say you're sitting down in your lawn and you're able to see an aeroplane go by. It looks like it's so much. इतना दिखेगा आपको एरोप्लेन. ठीक है. इतना ही दिखेगा. But do you know that an aeroplane cannot be this size? And it's huge and can fit like 100 people, more than 100 people. उसको size constancy कहते हैं. Just because aeroplane sky में इतना सा दिख रहा है doesn't mean it's actually this much. It's actually huge. It is that is the size is going to remain even if you look at it from far away. ठीक है? Ma'am, I have a doubt regarding complete course. Do we have to revise from any class for tomorrow's class? I have put it in the update section, Aishwarya. Please check. Guys, from now on, please check the group 1 scenario. I have pinned the file also. All of you get a notification the moment I pin a file. So are you not checking the group once I have pinned something? It's okay. Others also please check. Otherwise, you'll miss out on revision. You'll miss out. And if you have enrolled for the course, you will get a notification as well. I get a notification. When I put up something, I get a notification as well. Hafsa Malik has shared this and that and all. Okay, all right. चलिए. Shape constancy. ये देखो, ये door है. Door है. Yes, this is a door. Okay, this is when it's closed. Okay, all right. Now you went out to get yourself pani puri or whatever. So you opened the door. Okay, जब आपने door open किया, ये ऐसा दिख रहा है? दिख रहा है नहीं दिख रहा है? Door you open, तो door ऐसा दिखेगा, दिखेगा नहीं दिखेगा? Okay, all right. Does that mean कि door की shape change हो गई है? The door is still rectangle only, even though it looks like shape has changed. Shape has not changed. Shape has not changed, and our brain understands that. Sensation is sometimes misleading. Perception figures it out because we have this principle of constants. our brain perceives things at a certain constant. मतलब अगर दिखने में इसकी शेप चेंज भी हो गई, लेकिन हमें पता है कि इसकी actual shape change नहीं हुई है. Do you remember Piaget's theory of conservation? Stage of conservation, which we actually acquire in the concrete operational stage, knowledge of conservation. Okay, when we change the size, when we change the water from one size of beaker to another size of beaker, do we think the amount of water is changed? Oh, we know. Smaller beaker में तो दिखेगा कि काफी सारा पानी है, बड़े वाले beaker में दिखेगा कि कम पानी है. That's all, constants. All right, now lastly we talk about what are illusions. Okay, illusions are a result of top-down perception. Whether it is in terms of pictorial cues or whether it's in terms of motion related cues. ठीक है, चाहे आप motion related cues की बात करो या आप pictorial cues की बात करो, ठीक है, they are due to top-down perception because we expect to see certain things and that is how we end up being misled. Now in motion, apparent motion में थोड़ा सा धोखा लगता है, okay, in the sense that these are difficult to perceive. यहाँ पे सही परसेप्शन करना थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट होता है और थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग होता है. 5 phenomenon is quite confusing even though we know that the lights are different. लेकिन जब वो दिवाली या स्वीट शॉप की लाइट्स होती हैं, we perceive them to be one single light moving around. Yeah, okay. Then likewise, flip book. आपने have you ever tried a flip book or a cartoon where you just scroll the pages, आप ऐसे move करते हो pages and it appears as though the character is actually moving? Flip books. Okay, this continuous motion which is translating to continuous motion. Then autokinetic effect. What is autokinetic effect? So this was a study conducted by social psychologist Muzaffar Shaikh. All right, so what happened was laser. बचपन में आप भी खेलते थे लेजर के साथ? Did you not use lasers as a child? Or somebody in your family must have used to play? Okay, all right. Okay, Sharon, I don't remember, but yeah, if it's a flip book, then yes. So let us say this is an absolutely dark room. बिल्कुल dark रखा है हमने room. यहाँ पे कोई हमने क्यू या there's no reference point. So we basically turn on the what is this? What was I saying? Laser. We turn on the laser and we basically project the point of light onto an area of the ceiling. हमने ये point of light कहीं पे project कर दिया. इसके बाद I have actually turned off the laser. L is for laser. And I am projecting light onto a different point with very, very low, time in between. ठीक है? Let's say 10 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds. What do you think people are going to perceive? आपको क्या लगता है? लोगों को लगेगा कि ये दो अलग अलग पॉइंट ऑफ लाइट्स हैं या एक ही पॉइंट ऑफ लाइट जो है इसने यहां से यहां मूव किया? People perceive it to be a single point of light which is actually moved, which is not the case. Illusory motion, which is these are actually point 1 and point 2 of light. Okay, there are two separate points of light, but we perceive them to be a single point of light because first of all there is no background to reference it across. ठीक है, ये हम reference नहीं कर सकते किसी चीज के against. All right, there is no background, and the duration of the stimulus, the time frame between the two stimuli is very, very short. This is a kind of apparent motion as well. Can I say all of these are nothing but illusions? Can I say ये सारे illusions हैं? They are. We'll do one full class on illusions. They're quite fun. So you have the Mueller-Lyer illusion. ये वाला देखा होगा आपने. No matter how much you look at it, the upper line looks bigger. No matter, you're like, same ही तो है, but still it looks bigger. Apparently, this is also due to culture. In places where buildings and lines and this and that is more frequently seen, people are more likely to learn to, perceive things in this way. Whereas tribal population will generally not, respond the same way. So, ये Mueller-Lyer illusion है ना? Tribal population will generally not, perceive it as bigger or smaller. They'll say exactly ऐसा ही है. if people have not been exposed to lights and buildings and squares and shapes. All right, many experiments were done on this. Another one is the Ponzo illusion, which is actually of the frame. है ना? The upper ball looks much bigger. It's only about the frame of reference. वहां पे area narrow है तो वो बड़ा बड़ा appear होता है. It's like this. चल, last something fun, something interesting, and then we're almost done. Now, a lot of you have actually asked me about the field of parapsychology, right? What is parapsychology? Something that studies extrasensory perception here. Para perception or extrasensory perception basically studies what? Perception which is out of the ordinary, or perception which comes without apparent sensation, which is not considered pathological. So net mein nahi puchte, but in other exams they do ask. So I just wanted to brief up on this since it is given in basic books as well. Okay? So extrasensory perception, although there is no scientific proof that this really exists, but we have certain names and certain phenomena which we do see around us. What is telepathy? Telepathy क्या होता है कि हमने mind to mind communicate कर दिया. I thought something, you thought something, and we communicated with each other without talking. Okay? A lot of people will claim to be telepaths. Movies में आप काफी ये देखेंगे. In horror movies you will see clairvoyance also. That people will be able to perceive remote events. मतलब जो मेरे सामने नहीं बहुत दूर हुआ, I am able to see. Okay, very, very common in horror movies. They get this sensation when, you know, something happens to somebody else and this and that. Then we also have precognition. People who claim that they already know what's going to happen in the future. Guys, ये सच नहीं है. हाँ, clairvoyance and all of that is there in conjuring. Yeah. Premonition भी इसको कहते हैं, precognition को. Please remember, this is not scientific. There is no scientific proof for this. हाँ, मजे के लिए आप पढ़ो, understand करो, और ये बस remember करो कि किसका क्या नाम है. All right. What is precognition? To be able to explain कि हाँ future में ऐसे होगा, hand reading and this and that. Oh, you're going to have 4 kids. Oh, you're going to do this. Oh, you're going to meet the love of your life. They claim to have precognition. Sixth sense is your vestibular sense, so that is real only. Okay. All right. So what is telekinesis or psychokinesis? All right. I will not be able to see all 3 videos on emergence. Did I ask you to watch 3 videos? I have only asked you to watch 1 class on it, which is the first class of the foundation course. Please let me finish, okay? Please don't interrupt, guys, while I'm teaching. All right. Now, last one is moving remote objects. Have you seen X-Men? Professor X? Professor X? What does he do? And then this lady, Jean Grey, also basically moves things with the mind. Yeah. No, ma'am. Arey yaar, kya kiya fir? Okay, all right. Through mental processes, they're able to move things in their surroundings. Again, doesn't really happen. Doesn't really happen, but it's fun to study. All right. Stranger Things. आज के बच्चे Stranger Things देखते हैं. So if you watch Stranger Things, there's something like this there also. All right. I have asked you to please remember this very, very firmly. Ruk, 1 minute. Please let me finish. Let me talk. Okay. ये text messaging नहीं चल रही है यहाँ पे. I will repeat this again and again and again. This can be a virtual classroom, but it is still a classroom. So I really appreciate if we can all do give fun, right? It's not right if I tell you कि don't keep typing in the comments. Yet you keep typing and then my comment, my comment, my comment. See, it's not about me reading your comments. There is content which is prepared for you, which is for you to understand, right? You wouldn't be coming to class otherwise. So please let me finish. And once you are basically, क्या कहते हैं इसको? Once you're basically, you know, I've given you the opportunity to ask your doubt, then please go ahead and ask. ठीक है? मैम आज वॉइस बहुत कम आ रही है. ऐसा है guys? नॉर्मल ही तो है. कम क्यों आएगी? All okay. Thank you so much for letting me know. Now, okay. I have posted in the update section. See, if you don't check the group. In the group, I have cracking in between, not me guys, all हाँ जी, मेरा network बिल्कुल clear, right? When there are problems on my end, मैं आपको बताती हूँ. अब सुनो, I have shared कहाँ पे group पे, ये जो Net with Hafsa group है, I have pinned files, वो check them, okay? I have told you कैसे आपको update section आप कैसे access कर सकते हैं. For tomorrow you need to watch just the one class. What one class do you need to watch? The first class of the foundation course. That's all. You don't need to do anything else and just show up to 5 p.m. class. Even if you're not able to revise, come to class anyway. It's going to be your orientation class. I'm going to show you how to download. मैंने आपके साथ resources share किए हैं. If you have enrolled into the course, you will get all of those notifications. It will come up on your phone. Don't say clear notification, click on it, download the books. I'll tell you what to do. Okay? Please don't panic. Please relax. All right? I hope you like today's class. That's about it. अगर आपको कोई part यहाँ पे फिर से समझना है, class फिर से देख लीजिए. Okay? All right? Because I've explained everything multiple times. Now with that, I shall see you. हम कैसे भी 7 बजे मिलेंगे. Do 30 questions. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Really excited for tomorrow. For those of you who are still wondering, should you join, shouldn't you? Classes are starting tomorrow, 5 p.m. Please go ahead and join quickly if you are planning to. Okay? With that, bye-bye. If you like the class, please upvote it after you leave. Hanji, we'll meet at 7 p.m. Further, हम वहीं पे discuss करेंगे. Bye-bye.